السلام عليكم.
Somalia's president responds to a phone call from a concerned family member as more and more families continue to seek answers about the living and the dead. And for many, this National Emergency Center for now is their last source of hope.
We've divided ourselves into groups. There's an IT team tasked with data collection of lost victims, and we're using social media to publish photos of missing persons. This way, we act as a bridge between victims and family and friends.
The death toll has surpassed 300, with a similar number admitted in some of the city's major hospitals. Turkey, the first responder, sending its Minister of Health and a military medical plane to ferry some of the most critical cases.
We're here to offer any kind of help to our Somali brothers, especially at such a critical time following the directive of our President Tayyip Erdogan.
Several African and Arab countries have also offered to help Mogadishu as it comes to terms with one of the most deadliest terrorist attacks to ever hit the East African nation.
Al-Shabaab wants to eradicate the Somali population completely. The recent attack is a clear indication. They are our enemy and are only interested in destroying the future of this nation. They plan to turn it into a safe haven for terrorist groups. We will never accept that.
Among the dead, dozens of students, including this female university student who was set to graduate from a medical university in Mogadishu. The blast went off at the city's busiest junction, raising serious security concerns just how an attack of such a magnitude could occur in one of the most heavily guarded capitals in the world. More than 165 victims of Saturday's blast were buried in a mass grave. Medics are overwhelmed, with hundreds turning out to donate blood in a show of solidarity. And 2 days after the attack, there's still no claim of responsibility for the truck bombing. But Mogadishu is pointing fingers to Al-Shabaab, a local militant group that was recently ranked the most deadly terrorist group in the African continent. Abdulaziz Bilo, CGTN, Mogadishu, Somalia.
And in fact, Abdulaziz Bilo now joins us live from the seaside capital in Somalia. So Abdulaziz, let's step back a little bit here. How many people are missing at the moment? What's the latest on fatalities and how hospitals and generally health facilities in Mogadishu coping?
Well, Rama, according to the National Emergency Center that was set up immediately following Saturday 14th October deadly blast here, the death toll so far is 302. That's the official number that's being given by the federal government here in Mogadishu. And a similar number have been hospitalized in various hospitals here across the city. Now, it's quite interesting to note, Rama, that this is indeed a developing story out of this moment. The cleanup exercise is still ongoing, and as of 2 hours ago, some more bodies were being pulled out of the rubble. You understand that the impact of this explosion was one of its own kind. It's currently being referred to as the Mogadishu massacre, and destroyed very many buildings all across that downtown area of Mogadishu that is that has a heavy build-up of traffic as well as business centers. So the incident is being examined right now by authorities, and the hospitals here in the capital are already overwhelmed. There was a massive blood donation exercise here in the capital. Young university students and all of the government staff went to the hospitals to donate blood. So the hospitals here are facing a huge challenge, and various world countries, including Turkey, sent in a military, not military but rather medical aid through military planes here a few hours ago, and they airlifted 35 victims to Turkey for specialized treatment. And a country like Djibouti also sent in 30 medical doctors to boost the local health staff here to be able to cope with the ongoing crisis, Rama.
Indeed. You alluded to this a little earlier in your package, but tell us more about how citizens there are using tech, like social media, for example, in order to respond, to organize to the aftermath of this attack and to raise funding for emergency supplies and to cater for the wounded.
Well, Rama, that's a very interesting point, because it's the power of the social media that's creating a much awareness here. There was absolutely no way of family members able to notify the National Emergency Committee here about their lost members of family or their friends who are caught up in that attack. The National Emergency Center has created different pages on different social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat are the four key social media outlets that are being used by the Emergency Coordination Center here to be able to link it between the families that are reporting the cases and them to give out the information. But a few minutes ago, they tweeted that one girl, a 20-year-old girl, was found after she was reported by her relatives on Facebook that she was missing. She was found alive 48 hours after the blast. And a couple of hours ago, one young man was also pulled out from that rubble, and that information was relayed through Twitter and Facebook. So it's interesting to know that the power of social media has played in this attack. It has united more people to come together to lobby for more support here for the government and also for the medical team here that is already overstretched. Even the blood donation exercise itself, Rama, was advertised on social media. So definitely it's quite important to note that the power that social media has played, and also in terms of collecting a fund, the GoFund pages have been created and they're being re-advertised on Instagram, Facebook. That way the ambulance services and the local medics are able to get financial aid and medical aid from well-wishers, Rama.
Indeed. So over 48 hours have passed and so far no organisation has claimed responsibility for this attack. What are representatives of Al-Shabaab saying? Because normally they're very quick to jump on these sort of events and claim responsibility. But is there any concrete evidence that links them directly to this attack?
Well, Rama, militant group Al-Shabaab has been known to quickly claim responsibility for the slightest of attacks here in the capital, Mogadishu. But it is interesting to note that their silence right now is sending a more powerful message. One is that they don't want to claim responsibility because the attack claimed more than 300 lives, all of them civilians, because initially what the militant group claims during such attacks is that it targeted government facilities and it wants to show that it's a powerful group, but that's not the case here. And if we remember some couple of years back, militant group Al-Shabaab, especially in 2009, they didn't claim responsibility for an attack on a graduation ceremony that left scores of university students dead. So many are linking the Mogadishu massacre that happened on 14th to that attack at Shamo Hotel during the graduation of the Benadir University medical doctors. They're linking this attack to that attack, and that's one of the reasons that the Al-Shabaab doesn't want to admit that indeed carried out that attack. But Mogadishu is already pointing fingers, with the president saying that this attack was carried out by the Al-Shabaab and its legitimate target was not the government but to eradicate the Somali population out of Somalia and to create an environment that is not conducive or friendly for people to live here in Somalia, and to make sure that Somalia is indeed a terrorist haven so that they don't feel threatened and they can be able to import terrorists from abroad, Rama.
Indeed. We'll leave it there for the time being. Good to know you're safe. Thank you for the update. That's Abdulaziz below there live, of course, in Mogadishu.